like to thank everyone for coming today. This has been an exciting journey so far. The positive support that I've been receiving has been incredible. Working through this past 20 months has been the most challenging and the most rewarding for me. The ways that I've been able to challenge myself, to understand what I thought to be true of who I am, and to overcome all of my mental and social barriers have shown me just how strong I can be. The most important thing for me to learn was that I didn't have to maintain the thought process that I had or to believe that this is just who I am. Upon learning these thoughts or actions were a result of my habits and routines, I discovered how to go about correcting them, thus teaching me that I had the power to be the person I wanted to be, or at least a better version of who I was already. Of course, this isn't how it all started. I was nearing the end of 2020, the first year of the pandemic, and I was just trying to figure out what I was doing with myself. Mental health awareness and resources are much better now than they've ever been, but it was to my understanding that these weren't meant for me. A man doesn't ask for help, a man doesn't talk about feelings, a man is tough, and a man doesn't show weakness. If you do, there must be something wrong with you, or your sexuality is questionable. This belief has been handed down for generations, so I know this isn't news. This is a common struggle amongst men. Unsure of how to deal with it and not prepared for the reaction I may have received, I never brought it up. I never talked about it. I just kept going. Late summer 2020, I started to realize that what I was doing wasn't working and I needed to change. I started to keep a journal. Of course, I didn't call it a journal, and I didn't tell anyone about it. It was just a notebook, hidden in the cupboard, and when I was frustrated, it became a place that I could vent, a place that I could release, and ultimately a place I could beat myself up. I was really hard on myself, and I didn't really know how to fix it. Starting 2021, as I do most years, I set goals for the year. Most times these goals pass, and I just go back to my old habits and routines before month's end. I even managed to put off the start date to a more convenient day, January 4th this time. It just didn't make sense to start on the weekend, and I was still on holidays. Whatever I could do to just put it off a little longer. As I wasn't about to open up to anyone and expose any weaknesses, I started the year one day at a time and in private. I was just going to be healthier this year. I was just going to take a break from drinking. I was unhappy with my drinking routine, but in the beginning, it just wasn't about this. It was just one thing that I could avoid to lose weight and feel better. Where does somebody even start? I've established I wasn't going to ask for help. I wasn't even sure what I needed help with. At the time, and even still, I have a longer commute to and from work. I was tired of the same songs on the radio, and all of my playlists were boring me. I decided to use this driving time to try and learn something. I don't even know where I picked it up. Maybe I made it up myself, but in the past, I associated all podcasts, audiobooks, and self-help resources as a sign of weakness and something that wasn't for me. This is ridiculous to me now that I think back, and the amount that I've listened to through my journey has been life-changing. To be fair, working in the construction industry or in the fire department, we weren't exactly sharing too many personal development stories, talking about the new School of Greatness podcast, or sharing our suggestions for best audiobook to each other. Excuse me. These things would not bring the right kind of attention and would be difficult to come back from in these environments. Instead, it was more common to have the same conversations each week about drinking, partying, and being hungover, rinse and repeat. While my book goes into more detail on the progression from this point to where I'm at currently, it became clear to me as I rounded out 2021 that there are people out there that can use my story to help them move forward. I can't be the only one that was afraid to open up, afraid to let people in, and afraid to be vulnerable. Looking beyond how uncomfortable I have been about talking about myself and facing my own fears, it became clear to me that I needed to share this journey with others. I decided that if there is just one person that finds the motivation to change unhealthy habits or to feel comfortable opening up and asking the hard questions, then this is all worth it. It also became important to me that I don't live with feelings of what if. What if I wrote a book? What if I shared it with others? And what if my story could have helped someone else? Drinking wasn't the only thing I was able to overcome since January 1st-ish last year. While it was a huge part of it, and something I'm very proud of, I think that my biggest achievement has been getting over the macho man's man mentality that prevented me from being vulnerable and admitting that I could have used some help. I would be lying if I said that I didn't feel a bit of imposter syndrome as I worked through the writing and publishing process of this book. I wrote it from my most genuine and sincere self, and wanted to maintain that image through this process. I see a lot of people that I recognize and a lot of fresh new faces. Anyone that knows me knows that I always wear a hat. They probably assume I was born with it on. When I was working with my publisher and we were talking about how I should dress for my author photo, after all, I've never done anything like this before, I asked about my hat. Things got uncomfortable and I was quickly shut down. When I had my author bio photo taken, I brought a few shirts and took some photos with and without my hat, so I had a few options. I let my publisher choose her favorite, and I was happy we went with the version that we did. In my career, I know it is unprofessional and I do not wear it when I'm in meetings, but I'm not here as a professional. I'm not here as an expert. I stand before you today as genuine and as vulnerable as I was when I wrote this for all of you to read. I'd like to thank everyone for coming and supporting me today. I'd like to thank my brother-in-law Sean for his inspiration and my introduction, my brother-in-law Andrew for building my website, my posters, bookmarks, and setting up our point of sale, my wife Angela for all of her support, including organizing today's launch, everybody helping with my book sales, my children, Liam, Nash, and Ellie, for being here today and sharing this with me, my publisher, editors, and designers for helping me put this project together. I'd like to thank Allison for providing me with help and advice along the way, Cool 100 and Lewis and McKay Morning Show for giving me my first official interview and for sharing on their Facebook page, as well as the Wellness Center for setting up this room and providing the coffee and snacks. Please ask for everyone to continue to share this message with anyone they feel may benefit, and if you could provide reviews on Amazon or the bookstore websites when you read it, so I can try to promote this to those that could benefit. In closing, I would like to leave you with a quote from performance coach and podcaster Ed Milet. You are most capable and qualified to help the person you used to be. Thank you.